To be honest, when Xiaomi announced the Redmi Note 5 and the Redmi Note 5 Pro, I was not that excited. I thought this is pretty much typical Xiaomi playing it safe. They're rebranding some phones, they're putting in some iterative changes to their new phones. But then I realized there is one massive change to the specs that could change the Redmi Note line forever. I'm also running a giveaway on a pretty cool phone, so once you guys are finished watching this video, I highly recommend you guys enter the giveaway in the description down below. It takes 5 seconds to enter and it's free. So I'm going to tell you right away what that massive change to the Redmi line is, and that would be the CPU. Here we have a new Snapdragon 636 CPU, and this is what could be the massive game changer for all these new Xiaomi phones. So this is going to be a shorter video because the Xiaomi Redmi Note 5 is pretty much a rebrand of the Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus, and I've already reviewed that phone and you can check it up here. So it's got the same body, it's metal, the cameras are in a different spot, and there are dual cameras in the Redmi Note 5 Pro. It should have the same size bezels, and unfortunately it does have micro USB, which means there is no USB Type-C. Come on Xiaomi, we are literally in 2018 and we're still using micro USB instead of USB-C. Now the big difference here is the use of the Snapdragon 636 processor. When I first looked at the processor model, honestly Qualcomm's name conventions are a little bit weird. So the Snapdragon 630 is not that great. It's pretty much a higher clock Snapdragon 625, I think. So when I saw the Snapdragon 636, I thought that was an even higher clock Snapdragon 630. So I thought, oh, whatever, the Snapdragon 636 is just a very overclocked Snapdragon 625. But I was completely wrong. And the reason for that is because the Snapdragon 636 is actually an underclocked Snapdragon 660. Which means that the Snapdragon 636 has cryo cores, which are what you have in the Snapdragon 660. And to go into that into detail, the Snapdragon 625 has 8 Cortex A53 low power cores, which are actually the reason why the Snapdragon 625 is so power efficient but not that fast. The Snapdragon 660 on the other hand, in the Mi Note 3, this has 4X A53 cores, which are low power, as well as 4X A72 cores, or A73 cores, I think, which are high power, but also use more power as well. However, this phone, the Mi Note 3, does still get great battery life with a 3500 mAh battery. So I really do think that the Snapdragon 660 is the best balance between power and performance for tech enthusiasts like me and like you. And that's what makes the Snapdragon 636 such a game changer in my opinion. And that would be because if the Snapdragon 636 is an underclocked Snapdragon 660, that means the Snapdragon 636 should have performance pretty similar to the Snapdragon 660. And since it's underclocked, it should also have lower power consumption as well. And that would be actually pretty cool because that would mean that the Snapdragon 636 is a lot more powerful than the Snapdragon 620. And that is something that I think everyone can appreciate. Now, the big question is just how fast is the Snapdragon 636? And honestly, we all don't know because this is the first phone to use the Snapdragon 636. So let's use a scale of 1 to 5. Let's say number 1 is the Snapdragon 625 and number 5 is the Snapdragon 660. Now, where in that spectrum is the Snapdragon 636 in terms of power? Is it like a 4? Or is it like maybe a 2, way closer to the Snapdragon 625? I really hope it's closer to the Snapdragon 660 because that would be awesome. But again, we don't know. Now, the second big question about the Snapdragon 636 is the power consumption. Let's use that scale again. 1, 625, number 5, 660. Now, I'm again hoping that the power consumption for the 636 is a lot closer to what we have on the Snapdragon 625 because that will mean that power consumption would be really, really good and performance would also be very, very good. But then again, we don't know, but we'll see when the Redmi Note 5 Pro gets released. Now, there's another difference here for the Redmi Note 5 Pro, and that would be the camera setup. Here we have dual cameras. I think they're dual 12 megapixel cameras. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, the Redmi Note 5 Pro, Xiaomi has claimed that it will take better pictures than the Redmi Note 5 or the Redmi 5 Plus. To be honest, I really was not that impressed with the pictures on the Redmi 5 Plus. Yes, they were good, but honestly, I thought the Redmi Note 4 or the Redmi Note 4X took slightly better photos than the Redmi 5 Plus. With that being said, Xiaomi has provided some photos taken by the Redmi Note 5 Pro that, if they were true, the Redmi Note 5 Pro would have an amazing camera, beating even the OnePlus 5T and the Pixel 2, which I highly doubt. So I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. And if the photos look close to what we have in these PR photos over here, then the Redmi Note 5 Pro would actually be a very good camera. So I hope you guys are as hyped about the Redmi Note 5 Pro as I am, now that you know that the Snapdragon 636 is an underclocked Snapdragon 660. That can make the Redmi Note 5 Pro a very, very good phone. This new CPU is very impressive and I'm looking forward to testing it. And I'll be trying my best to get my hands on it as soon as I can. And also don't forget to enter the giveaway down in the description below. Entering super easy, it takes 5 seconds and it's free. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one.